Hello, this is Bill Bullard with RCAF USA, the voice of the independent cattle producer in the United States of America. Well, the crisis the U.S. cattle industry is in today was not caused by the coronavirus pandemic, but it has significantly worsened because of it. Today's cattle industry crisis manifested 5 years ago. At that time, cattle prices plummeted and beef prices continued climbing. Since then, there's been a complete and lasting disconnect between the value of cattle and the value of beef. That disconnect has steadily worsened, and during the past 3 years, cattle prices have trended downward and consumer beef prices have trended upward. The coronavirus pandemic is now shining a floodlight on our dysfunctional cattle and beef industries. Cattle prices are below production costs while consumers pay near record beef prices. Cattle producers today have cattle to sell, but no competitive market to sell into. This week, packers are slowing and in some instances stopping production. Some cattle buyers have said they are not offering bids for cattle. Cash prices are now too low to keep many cattle producers in business. And all this is happening while consumers are experiencing empty beef cases in grocery stores, and they are paying near record prices for beef when they can find it. In short, our cattle markets are broken, our supply chain is broken, our distribution chain cannot keep up, and our cattle producers cannot compete even in their own domestic marketplace. Many of America's cattle farmers and ranchers will not be able to make their payments. Many will not survive, and rural America's economy will be permanently crippled unless we act decisively to solve this terrible mess right now. This is the first time in many of our lifetimes that the American consumer could not go to the grocery store and buy the food they want. If we lose more cattle farmers and ranchers because no one bothered to fix the broken marketplace, this crisis-born problem could quickly turn into a long-term problem where the American consumer may not be able to buy the food they need. For decades, America's family farming and ranching system of agriculture was the envy of the world, but we're fast replacing that system with the new, more centralized and industrialized system that the coronavirus shows us is fundamentally incapable of meeting America's food security needs. The mistake America made is that it turned the control of our food industry over to a handful of multinational corporations. These corporations have been shaping our food system to benefit their bottom lines. They've done this without regard to our nation's food security needs. Just half a lifetime ago, the United States had a vibrant food production, food processing, and food distribution system. For the cattle and beef industries, it consisted of hundreds of thousands more cattle producers than we have today, tens of thousands more feedlots than we have today, and hundreds of more beef packers than we have today. And all these segments of the food system were disaggregated. They were scattered all across America. This decentralized system was robust and built to handle any crisis. It reflected our nation's food security interests. If a problem occurred in any one area of the country, or even in several areas, there was plenty of redundancy to pick up the slack. Grocery store shelves did not go empty. But America lost sight of its food security needs and sat silent while beef industries engaged in a merger frenzy, with just a handful of highly concentrated and centralized beef packers emerging to control the cattle and beef supply chains, both domestically and internationally. These centralized, monolithic corporations began asserting their control over the live cattle supply chain by dismantling our industry's most important price discovery market, the fed cattle market. They also began stepping up their practice of substituting domestic beef production with undifferentiated imports of cattle and beef. The coronavirus has piled a crisis upon a crisis, and by doing so, it is calling attention to America's failure to properly maintain our nation's family farming system of agriculture, a system that is inherently far more secure than the corporate-led system we have now. We need to fix this, and we need your help. Please call each of your congressional members this week and ask them to take 2 steps that will help reverse this terrible mess we find ourselves in today. First, tell them to pass legislation to require all beef sold in America to be labeled as to where it was born, raised, and harvested. This will allow American consumers to support American farmers and ranchers. Second, tell them to pass legislation to restore the broken cattle market by requiring beef packers to purchase a majority of their weekly cattle needs from the competitive cash market. If you'd like to learn more about how you can help restore America's food security, please join with us by going to our website at www.r-calfusa.com. Thank you and have a great week.